Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we are anything but straight. My name is Space, and I will be your host for today's episode, which is called Spaced Out. Spaced Out will be a new series of episodes that will happen once a month, and they'll be centered around fan emails, activities, short interviews, reviews, pretty much anything that I want to put into it. It'll be just something different, something a little bit new, but you get me all to yourself. And for some out there who have actually expressed that they love hearing my voice, you're welcome. It's not the best, sexiest voice. I'm sorry. It's the end of the day for me. My sexiest voice is in the morning, but whatever. So yeah, what you can always look forward to are fan emails. I will always read fan emails for each of these episodes, and I'll always have some sort of activity going on. I don't have one for today's episode, but that's okay. Right, that burp right there, as usual. And then I will also be doing small and short topic discussions and interviews as well. But these interviews are different. They're not going to be just interviews with, well-known people. In fact, I don't really want to do it with well-known celebrity furs or celebi furs, as I've coined, or poppy furs, as you guys will know them as. These are going to be more personal, more fun interviews with you, the listeners. So if you want to come on to an episode of Spaced Out, and they'll only happen 12 times a year because it's just once a month. If you want to come on and you're at least 16 years of age, okay, and you want to talk about something about, in the furry fandom or something that you're really passionate about, just send us an email at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. Put the subject as spaced out interview. And then kind of write out why you want to be on the episode itself. Let me know a little bit about you, who you are, why you listen to our show, what inspired you to, be in the furry fandom. What do you love about the furry fandom? And then, of course, what are some things that you want to talk about on the show itself? And then I'll read that and kind of answer it back to you. And I like to do each email a little bit differently. Now, keep in mind, I am a bit slow on replying. So don't feel bad if I don't get back to you right away. I'm well aware that I am very, very bad at replying on a timely manner, and I'm trying to get better at that. I don't do it on purpose. It's just, I see the emails and I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to reply back to it. And then it's not that I forget. I just get sidetracked with something else. And there's just a lot that's going on with me in general. And I'll kind of share that real quick. There's been a lot that's been going on behind the scenes, behind Straight for the Muzzle. What you don't see is that besides working on this show and working at work, I've been I guess I can talk about it now because I'm not feeling emotional. So right now would be a perfect time for me to kind of talk about this. Trigger warning for those out there who do get emotional, who may get emotional about things about depression, anxiety, and stuff just that. But I'll try to keep it as, low key and not aggressive whatsoever. So it shouldn't really trigger anything from that at all. For about a good portion of my life, I've kind of dealt with depression, but I've only mostly identified it since 2015, 2016. But I've never really done any therapy for it. I've been, put on medication, but never really done anything as far as trying to seek out why I'm having depression or why I am the way I am. Now, there's other things that go into it as well. If you've listened to any of the episodes, you'll know that I have a DNA or a genetic disorder, not disorder, called Klinefelter's, which is 47XXY. You can look that up. And it has a bunch of random crap that goes on with it. So there's, a couple of things that are going on there. And there's therapy that I should be doing, but I just haven't really gotten around to it. And it's not that I just haven't gotten around to it. It's because I just don't want to do it. Because I don't really trust therapists because I've been to them when I was a kid and I've always been afraid of them. And I've kind of carried that fear up until now. And so I'm just like, oh no, well, what if I go to one now? And, it brings up bad memories. But then again, if I don't get help now, then I fear that something worse is going to happen. So going on with that, in the last 2 years or so, even in the last couple of years, I've been displaying more characteristics of emotions that will come and go in waves. So there'll be times where I'm super elated and super happy. And then in a moment's notice, I will switch and drop down and go super depressive and really sad. And I'll have thoughts of suicide. I won't actually do it, but those thoughts will come across and then I'll go back up again. And I told this to my doctor and I was like, hey, I'm having these things and I think it's, I think it's a male period as a joke. That's what I said. It was a male period. And I blamed it on the XXY. And she was like, it's possible that you might have bipolar disorder. Let's get you referred to a counselor to get you evaluated. And I'm like, no, it's not a big deal, but you can refer if you want to. But she's like, all right, I'll put a referral out there, but I think you should do this. Totally dismissed it. I guess my husband Felix has also mentioned this, but I've totally ignored it. Didn't see the red flags there. And then these last 2 years with the coronavirus kind of just like split my mind in half because there were things that I really depend on, like seeing people's faces and being able to touch people when I talk. Cause I'm a talker. Like I wave my hands around, I touch you on the shoulder, kind of things like that. And not being able to do that was a real like shock to the system. And then of course, when people stopped doing game nights and we weren't able to see each other, it really just like, it was a brick wall for me. And from there on out, I've really never been able to recover. So kind of like fast forwarding up to it, I'm at this point where I realize that my mental status is starting to decline a little bit. And I feel like I'm kind of like checking out of reality. And I know that this is happening, but I have no idea how to stop it. And I keep getting triggered when I go to movies and when I watch TV shows and when I hear people talk about regular things and I get really emotional and I don't understand why these things keep happening because these are normal things that wouldn't normally trigger an emotion response and they're happening more frequently. So I have an appointment in the coming week. So that would be November 2nd. So if I say next Tuesday, for you guys, if you're listening to it, it's November 2nd. This episode will come out on the 5th. So it'll be delayed, obviously. And it's just the first meeting to get evaluated, kind of figure out things. And I'm just really hoping that with these therapy sessions, you can really figure out what's going on in my brain, what therapy can be done. I really want to find like inner peace. And I want to find a way to get back to where I was before. I don't really know where before was, but I know that like the passion in me is there's like a flame and that flame is dwindling really quickly. And it's passion in the furry fandom, passion in all these other projects that I've put so much time and effort into. And I'm holding on to all of them really hard, like really tightly, and I won't let go of them. But the thing is like something is preventing me from feeling all the love in those particular passionate projects. And so I'm hoping with these therapy sessions that I'll be able to start the healing process and try to figure out what's going on. So that's what's kind of going on with me. Look, I made it without crying. Yay. It's because I already cried yesterday and this morning. Anyways, so to kind of like segue off of that, because we don't want to talk about sad things all the time, let's go into emails. Oh, I thought I was going to burp there for a second. I guess not. Right, that burp right there. So I have a couple emails I want to go over. There's 4 of them, and then there's some QA that's in our Telegram group. I did say I was going to be doing an episode. If you guys want to ask questions, go for it, because writing an email does take time, and there's highly doubtful that they're going to throw in an email right away. It's so much easier to access Telegram it this way. It's easier. Plus, we have some new members, which, it's always fun to get new members' perspectives and questions. Also, I do want to make sure that you guys all know, guys and gals. So when I say guys, I don't mean like men. I mean like just people in general. So I don't want to offend anyone, but I just want you guys all know. When you email into us, if you ask us for advice about like relationships, like what you should do, well, relationships, that's the one thing. But if you ask us advice about like therapy, for instance, like what I was talking about, or if you're under the age of 18, you're asking for something specific that may make us feel uncomfortable, or it's a medical question, just keep in mind that we're not medically licensed. We can't necessarily give advice. We can direct you in a direction where you can get help. It may not be the answer you're wanting, but it's the answer we can give legally. So if you do send those questions, just be advised that there is a chance, probably a big chance, we can't answer them, but we do our best to answer what we can legally. luckily, none of these emails have any of those issues, so we're good. Our first email comes from Jake the Rabbit. So this one kind of borders between that, like, can I give advice? Can I not give advice? And I'll explain here in a second. So this email says, hi, I am Jake the Rabbit and I'm a gay furry. I see you guys as role models and inspirers. My parents don't like furries or LGBTQ, but I don't care. I'm in 8th grade and I love your podcast. And if you read this email, it would make my day. Okay, I hope you have a great day. So you're very welcome, Jake the Rabbit. And it's my pleasure to read your email. And I'm glad that you love our podcast. And I'm so glad that you're out there and you're proud and everything. When it comes to the LGBTQ community and everything, and you're trying to get like your parents on board and furries on board, I always feel like it's when it comes to parents are very like set in their ways and they basically go on what they know and what they think is best. And so when you're living in their household, you kind of have to just go with what they say is best. And as much as it kills your spirit, you kind of just have to do what they say is best for you. And I know that's not the answer you want, but it's the answer that is the most, I guess you could say, not politically correct, but it's the right answer that's coming from an adult, I guess you could say. The other thing too is that you don't necessarily, and this is from experience, you don't necessarily want to force it on them too. Usually when you force something onto a parent, they automatically go into defensive mode and that shield comes up. And regardless of what you throw at them as far as evidence goes, they don't see it. They see it as, oh my God, what is my child into? Do I need to worry about this? Is there something going on? Is he into drugs? And all of this stuff. And they'll start automatically thinking this. And so that's not necessarily something you think of, but that's typically what parents are thinking of. And so that's why I'm kind of creating that borderline barrier for you. So when fans email us and they say, my parents don't like that I'm gay or that I'm a furry or something like that, think of it like this. When you're trying to explain something to your parents, have you ever had the thought where you feel like your parents aren't listening to you and they've got their arms crossed or, like it just feels like that's going in from one ear and out the other? Well, that's truly what's going on. They're in what they call defensive mode. Think of it as like they're showing you the stern face, but in true reality, in their brain, 100 things are going through their brain. They're wondering, oh my God, what is going on? Did I fail? Did I do something wrong as a parent? Is there something my child is into? Is it something I should be aware? Is it something I should be concerned of? And they go through all of these scenarios. And of course, on your end, as a child, it's innocent. And on your end, you think it's totally fine and it's totally okay. And you think you have everything you need to go. And you probably do. But you also have to realize that as a parent, and I'm not a parent, but as an adult, it's our jobs to make sure that we mold the young minds in the best way that we can. And we try to protect the best that we can. And so usually when parents or adults are given information or pushed information that gives us a red flag, we automatically go into defensive mode. And that's generally what happens. But kudos for you for being gay and being furry, super awesome. Love to hear more about it as you kind of go on, up in your grades and stuff. So 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you graduate and kind of see how things go from there. So once again, thanks for emailing in. Our next email comes from, I gotta make sure I've got this right. I'm gonna say Captain, just because that's the name that's on this specific picture of this fursona or this ref sheet. But the email says, hello, I'm an Australian Shepherd dog, and I've been listening to your podcast on Spotify for a while. Thanks for listening on Spotify, by the way. I hear a lot of people are listening on Spotify, so sweet. We don't get anything from them. We just do this for free. I love it. That's what they said. But my main question is, how does my fursona look? So when I open it up, it's not a very big picture. I'd have to really zoom in, but I would prefer not to, because then that's going to really degrade the picture itself. So at what I can see it at point face value, super cute. Australian Shepherds, just in general, are super cute dogs. And so I always really love seeing fursonas, and I really love seeing ref sheets of it. So I think you have a really cute fursona, and I would love to see additional artwork of it. If you have it, please feel free to email us more if you've got it. So thanks for emailing in. Our next one comes from, now, when I was reading this, I did a recording before this one, and I totally messed up on this name. So I'm glad I'm redoing this recording so I can say this name right. So here's what we got here. So we've got Keen Eye, the Husky. but the way they spell it is Kenaii. So it almost sounds like it's Kenai. So that they kind of did like the parentheses and then like how to pronounce, which I really like. So they have to say, hey guys, I would like to say that both of you are amazing. So both in the meaning that they're probably referring to Sparrow, also known as Bean, because that's her new name now. Everyone knows it's going to change. Anyways. Anyway, so they said, hey guys, I would love to say that both of you are amazing and help me get through the day with your episodes. I listen to your episodes on Spotify. Yay, another one. And honestly, I stopped listening to music just to listen to y'all. Above all, though, I would love to be a guest on one of your episodes, if that's possible. Yes, I did see what you did there, and I love the pun. I would be so grateful. I don't know or have a topic to offer, but I'd be willing to talk about whatever y'all have in mind. Thank you for reading this. I love you guys. You're all awesome. Totally welcome. Love reading emails. Probably my most favorite thing about this whole podcast and what we've done for the past 10 years. And you're probably thinking, wait, you've done this podcast for 10 years? And I'm like, well, it's not really a podcast for 10 years. It was a live stream called For Media. And then we turned it into a podcast called Straight from the Muzzle. But yeah, so I really do love reading emails. I read all of them. I just don't respond to all of them right away. And then they followed it up and they'd love to talk about furry music artists and how they are an inspiration to young and older furries wanting to get themselves involved into music for the fandom or just for a career. So yeah, I would be more than willing to do an interview with you or discuss a topic with you. I definitely need to make sure that you're at least 16 years of age. If you're below that, we'll have to wait until you become of age. And that's just more or less just for legality things. 18 would be preferred age, but I'm willing to bend the rules down to 16 because 16 is different for different countries. So I'm just going to go on the worldwide, kind of scale of average age of whatever. So thank you, Kenai. Our last one though, God, I love this one. So I'm not going to say who it is because I want to just preserve their, I guess you could say, their identity. And, because I don't want them to feel embarrassed, nor do I want anyone to go hunt them down because there's no reason for it. I did read this email off to a few, I think I shared it with someone on my team and then I also shared it with my husband. And we kind of all determined that it's either someone who's still in grade school or is just maybe someone brand new to the fandom who's really excited and just has that gung-ho kind of excitement, but then easily gets offended by just anything and everything because they're so passionate about that one thing. So that kind of gives you an idea as to where we're going, specifically with this email. And I'm not going to read the whole email. In fact, I'm just going to paraphrase. Basically, in one of our first episodes, in fact, let me go onto our site here and just pull it up. It's season 1. And it's season 1, episode 4, Fursonas. There is a brief, probably 1 to 2 minutes where I talk about circles. And I basically explain what I think a circle looks like. Now, I have the right to explain or to compare what I think a circle looks like, but I also like to explain things and talk about things in a comedic manner. And I do that because it's fun and others like it as well. Now, I'm not doing it to be degrading. I'm not doing it to be disrespectful. I'm not doing it because I don't like circles or because I hate the circle community or their fans. I'm not doing it for those reasons. I'm doing it because it's playful. It's also just straight up. It's an accurate description. I believe I said it was something like, it looks like the head looks like a shark mated with a speedboat. And basically that's kind of like what it looks like. If I had to update my description on it, I would say it's like a wedge of cheese mated with a shark. That's kind of what it looks like. It's a creature or a alien type thing with weird webbed feet, which I don't really like webbed feet. It's kind of weird, but it's not my thing. And its face is literally like a wedge of cheese. It's just like this point kind of a thing. And that's just kind of like what I thought. And this particular person got quite offended. And so they decided to write about it. So no offense, writer, but writer not as in like their name is writer. It's Writer. No offense, person who wrote into our show. I understand that you're really passionate and I understand that you got offended, but you got to realize that there are going to be a lot of people like me out there and you cannot get offended at everything. Because if you're going to get offended about this, I hate to say it, you are not going to like life ahead of you because it's going to suck. It's going to suck balls. and you're just going to hate everything. But if you learn to kind of let go of the reins and you learn to laugh at it or be like, okay, that's his opinion, not a big deal. I like it the way I like it. Have a broader perspective, then you'll be okay. So there you go. All right, we are going to move on from emails now, and we are going to do a quick review. Actually, you know what? We have some questions here in the Straight from the Muzzle chat from Alpha. So let me get to Alpha real quick here. Okay, so here's their questions. So their first question, they just go straight for it. First question is, are furries meant to be sexual, or is that just a stereotype given to the community by society? So your answer is in your second question. Yes, it's a stereotype given to the community by society. But it's kind of like a weird, it's a yes and no type of a thing. You have to remember that there's something called Rule 34 on the internet. Let's look up Rule 34. Per Google, Rule 34 is an internet maxim which asserts that internet pornography exists concerning every conceivable topic. The concept is commonly depicted as fan art or normally non-erotic subjects engaging in sexual behavior. Now, you can take that particular Rule 34 and literally apply it to everything. So if furries exist, then sexual things of furries are going to exist. If fursuits exist, then you better believe that there's probably going to be some sexual contact in those as well. Is it wrong? No, it's totally natural. People do it all the time. Should it stay behind doors? Yes, it should stay behind doors. Should fursuits be on the floor with bondage equipment during the daytime at a convention? Hell no. Not appropriate. So, second question they have is, if I ever wanted to go to a convention, what would you suggest I start with? I always suggest starting with a small con first and a local one specifically. You never want to start off with a really big con. And the reason being is because you think about it, if you go to a really big con that you're not familiar with and you don't know anyone there, it can be really overwhelming. A smaller con, a local smaller con too, would be the best way to go because you can kind of introduce yourself. You may know some people, especially if you get to know people within your group or within, let's say like a fur meet that you go to or an online group meet that you go to. I'm thinking, oh God, what is that other one that I never use? It's not Telegram. It's the other one. I think it starts with a D. Oh, I don't know. It's one of those. It's the other one that gamers use. There's lots of different ways to do this. You can get yourself acquainted with people. And then when you go to a local, smaller one, you can kind of really enjoy the convention without having to overwhelm your senses and not feel like scared or left out. You can really just enjoy the con for what it is. And once you get your feet wet on that, then you go to a medium-sized con. And then from a medium-sized con, you go to a big one. The big ones tend to be like Anthrocon, Midwest Fur Fest, Further Confusion, and Biggest Little Fur Con. Oh, yeah. And then there's also, what's that other one down in Georgia? FWA, Furry Week in Atlanta. There's also a lot of smaller ones too, and then medium-sized ones. So you could either go to a medium-sized or a smaller one, and those are usually in between. And you can find those by just Googling it. If you type in like small, like furry fandom conventions, or if you just type in furry fandom conventions, there should be a Wikipedia page that pulls everything up. And then you can kind of see like how many attendees go to those, and you can really judge based off of how much is on it and make your, decision from that. From Pico or Peco, I really don't know which one is which, so I do apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Oh, I think they were answering questions, so I guess never mind. I'm just going to scroll and see if there's any other questions that they had. I don't think they do. They just have some general questions, just chatter. So we'll go ahead and move on then. The last thing on our docket for today is furrynetwork.com. Now, this was actually referred to us from a fan, and I just closed my Gmail. I'm going to pull that back up again. So this came from Sophia Tigris, and they asked us if we would go ahead and do a review of furrynetwork.com. And I said, sure. But I said that back in June, and I feel really bad because now it's October. And then, of course, this episode's coming out in November. So you got to see where we're at right now. So furrynetwork.com. you go there and it's really cool. The first thing you see on the page is this huge banner. Now, it depends if you're on your phone or if you're on your computer. Either one, I think I'd recommend going on your computer first. It's really immersive. What I really like about it is the banner itself is like a trailer, and it just constantly is playing these little videos going, and it's so really well done. It almost reminds me of a few video or videographers that I know really well in the fandom. And of course, their names are escaping my mind, and I feel really bad now. But it's really cool. At first, I wasn't sure what to think of it. I'm thinking like, okay, so it's just probably going to be like another DeviantArt type of a thing. But it's not. It's so much better than that. What I've come to realize is I think Furry Network is onto something here. I think Furry Network is basically like Facebook, Twitter, Fur Affinity, and DeviantArt mixed in together on steroids. And it's like the best thing ever. But the cool thing about it is it's so clean. Not like, clean of porn. There's always going to be porn. Regardless of where you go, there's always going to be porn. It's so clean on how you can find things on their website. It's so easy. So if you go to their website, the first thing you see is that landing page. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see people's artwork, which is really neat. You can click on the artwork itself. What I really want to go over is I guess you could say tags at the top of the page, or the different selections. So how they have it set up is home, artwork, photos, writing, multimedia, community, and commissions. So on Furry Network, if we start at commissions, what I really like here is that if you go to the landing page of Fur Affinity, and we're going to do side-by-side comparisons here, there is nothing for commissions anywhere. You can't find anything like a tab that says commissions. Now, when you log in and you go to someone's profile, there is an option to add commissions, but it's not something that you can necessarily search for as like an added bonus. It's not something where people can go and see that, oh, this person has commissions open and it's for this price and it's for this type of artwork. Furry Network has this, and it's so well laid out. So you go to it, and it shows you have this option that says availability, and it says show only artists that have open availability. Really nice touch there. You have different art types you can choose from. You have like painting, flat, other, sketch, rendering, line work, specialties, so fantasy, furry, NSFW, see, porn, painting, badges. And then of course, if I open view all art types, there's like 40 different, I want to say maybe 50 different categories you can choose from. On top of that, there's also a price range you can play with as well. So 25 and under, 25 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 250, and 250 and up. And you choose any of these options, it'll narrow down what artists are available at that moment and what their price ranges are, which is really, really nice. It's really cool. It's easy to find an artist to commission. You don't have to go searching for one on Fur Affinity. You don't necessarily have to see where their queue is per se. Here, it's open. It's open. And if it's not open, that's the artist's fault, not yours. And then they also have artist ratings on here too. So they have a 5-star rating, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's really cool. And then on here, it also gives you the option, if you want to be an artist, you can click here to apply. So not everyone can just be an artist here. You have to go through an application process. So there is a cool process to go through. Whereas on Fur Affinity, anyone can be an artist. So you never really know what you're going to get with Fur Affinity. You know what you're going to get with Furry Network. Going on from that, there's something called community. I never really understood what community was, but if I gather, it's basically like searching for your friends. And you can kind of click on different profiles and then go to their profiles and just, do things and just kind of see what they have, which basically just shows like their following, who their followers are, who they are following specifically. And then I don't think it does posts where you can just post something, unless I'm totally wrong on this. And I forgot my login information, so I don't remember. I don't want to retrieve it right now. But it might let you just do like a post, but I don't believe that's what most people do. Most people just post their artwork and stuff. So you can use the community for that. Multimedia is exactly what it sounds like. Multimedia is specifically for basically videos, music, GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to say, animation, things of that matter. Oh my God. Wow. That was not the tags that I had the last time I clicked on this. I'm not going to read the tags that are on there right now. I'll read the good ones, not the other ones. Below multimedia, when you click on it, it gives you 4 options to choose from. You can choose from the most recent, most popular of last week, most popular of last month, or most popular of all. You can also add in your own search tags if you want to, or you can choose from the search tags that are the most popular at the moment. Right now, it's animation, male, female, animated, censor, furry, censor. So you could use your imagination if you want to. I recommend you don't. So there's that. There's an option for writing. Yep. Once again, it's just writing, but they give you those options of choosing most recent. Popular tags: magic, story, wolf, fox, moose, gay. That's interesting. Violence, drama, science fiction, and action. Choose any of those, and it will pull up a specific artist, and you can then read their stories. Really cool. And it's very simple. It's very clean, very simple. And it pretty much scrolls very much like a Twitter page, which I really, really like. So if you're familiar with Twitter, you'll very much like how to scroll with this thing. If you go to photos, this is the cool part. So photos is a neat one. Same kind of setup, same tags as usual. These are photos specifically, though, and you're going to find photographers on here only, which is really nice. You won't find anything else. And that's what I like about these specific tags, is that you're not flooded with, if you're searching for, let's say, fursuits, if I do a search for fursuits on Fur Affinity, like if I just do fursuits, it pulls up pictures, stories, animations, whatever the heck these are, music, random stuff. But here I can actually find specific fursuit photos and photographers that I know or am looking to explore to find, which is quite nice. Same with artwork. Artwork is pretty much the same as the photos kind of a thing, so you can kind of just assume the same thing. And then there's home again. And then they have a trailer on there. The trailer is really nice as well. It makes you feel like when you watch it, if you ever kind of feel like you're having a down moment, and you're watching it, it makes you feel excited again, like about the furry fandom. So if you're just feeling like, oh, today sucks, I recommend just going to this landing page and watching that video. It's only a minute long, but totally worth it. So I think it's great. And pretty much at point face value, amazing. I think it's a great platform. As of right now, Facebook has changed their name to Meta. So they're basically just kind of throwing up a smoke screen saying, we don't want to take responsibility for all the issues we have. So we're going to change our name to Meta now, and we'll kind of just create Facebook and it'll be its own entity, basically. So they didn't really change their name. They basically just created a new umbrella company, and Facebook is now under that umbrella. But they aren't really like taking responsibility for anything. And they're just kind of creating a smoke screen and saying, hey, look at this brand new thing that I have. Look at this now. So it's really annoying. So now is the chance to find something really good to play with. Furry Network would be that thing. Only thing I don't necessarily like is the setup process. Now, signing up is really easy. It literally takes like maybe 2 to 3 minutes to sign up. That problem I don't have with. It's basically creating your profile specifically. So I'm on a profile. It's at Skulldog, so SKULLDOG. What's different about the profile setup, it's pretty bland. I feel like they did so much with everything, and the one thing that they totally dropped the ball on was the profile itself. When you go to like update like things that say, like this is a little bit about me and who I am, it gives you these fields, like these boxes, and it suggests like saying species, and then the next box says write your species name, but it doesn't like give you boxes or pre-designated boxes to write in. It makes you do it yourself, basically. And it's kind of for some people who don't really know what to do with this specifically, they're not going to really understand how to create an about section for themselves based off of what they have. So for everything that could be a 5-star rating here, if I wanted to give it a 5-star rating, I totally would. But because of how they have their setup process for the profile and everything, I'm going to knock off a star and say it's a 4 out of 5. It's an amazing website, but The whole thing of creating a profile should be easy. It should be ready to go so that when the user gets on there, they can put everything in there and ready to go. It shouldn't be vague. If anything, it should be the complete opposite of that. So basically, negative star on that. You get 4 out of 5, which is a pretty good it's still a pretty good score. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As a reminder, if you guys have any questions you'd like to reach out to us, you can at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. You guys can reach out to us on Twitter, which is @FromTheMuzzle. And we also have a Telegram group that I always place on every single episode. So you guys can always click on that as well. We are across a boatload of different platforms that you can listen to us on, but it seems like everyone's doing it through Spotify. So kudos to you. And I believe I will see you guys on the next episode of Spaced Out, which should be actually during our Christmas break, because we're doing a Christmas break. We'll do 2 months on, 1 month off. So instead of having multiple seasons throughout the year, we're just going to be doing one season throughout the whole year, but we're going to be taking breaks so we don't burn out. So we'll do 1 month off where we have a break, and then 2 months where we produce episodes, and then 1 month off for a break, and it'll just do that. So Christmas will be one of those months where we have it off, but I still plan on releasing an episode for you guys. Next time you hear about Spaced Out will be in December, besides the one that you're listening to. So anyways, have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time.